everyone. Welcome to the show, My So-Called Fabulous. I'm Tiffany, and welcome everyone to Season 7. Sometimes I say these seasons, and I just don't even know what to think because the pride in my heart and my body is just jumping through this microphone and this camera. So proud to bring you Season 7. Y'all, this is number 176. This is 176 times I've done that, sat in front of this camera and done this with you, all listening, and we are so excited because the growth has been so amazing and so much to share this season as well. So number 176, and guess what? In January, we turned 4 years old. So you may be going, wait, it's only Season 7? Well, here's what we did. I have been walking this podcast world kind of hand in hand, just kind of learning as I go. I laugh because my dad often calls this my radio show, which is very similar, but I'm just kind of walking and learning as I go, what works, what you want to hear, what you don't want to hear, comments, so on and so forth. But I decided about 2 years ago to start seasons. So here's what we're doing. So this is today, March 5th of 2023. And we're going to do 17 shows. We release every Tuesday. Thank you again for listening. And we are on YouTube and every podcast platform you could ever think of. But we'll go through the end of June. So I've split it up twice a year. So we'll do that, 17, and take July and August, to refresh and to bring on new guests and exciting and just kind of discover, again, what you want to hear. Then we'll start up again in September. So starting the season, and then we'll start Season 8. But, 2023 was a very interesting year for me. It was interesting with health. And I think the podcast really took on this health and wellness attitude and personality because 2023, my health was absolutely horrible. I say that because it just was. It was a year of explant surgery. It was a year of advocating for myself with medicine and trying to figure out what was going on with my body because I had to. Because I had so many doctors telling me really what I didn't want to hear, or they just didn't know what was wrong with me. And we'll get into that later. But this podcast has taken on a new life. And so bringing to you this year, fun, again, education. I started this podcast to basically share with you my life, transparent, what's worked, what didn't work, success and failures, in hopes it will help someone. We bring on organizations that help, that people that are in the community and across the world and globally that help as well. But 2023, I had the distinct honor and pleasure of having you vote Reader's Choice for Fort Worth Magazine Influencer of the Year for 2023. And the pride is there, and I do not take that casually at all. It gave us energy to create more exciting and interesting content. And again, something that I keep hearing and that resonates with me is that I'm real. What you see on my feed is not exactly what I do and look like every day. It's a beautiful pictorial of live sponsors, ideas for you that we're sharing. And so thank you for voting us 2023 Influencer a Year. We're waiting to hear if you felt the same, hopefully about the podcast too. We were nominated for the podcast as well. So we're waiting to hear, and we'll know that later in the season. So bringing that all to you. So I'm going to catch up because a lot of people, what we did for this podcast, we put my stories on Instagram and Facebook. What do you want to hear? Ask me questions and I will bring this to you. So interesting questions. So I've taken a few questions and I'm going to answer them. But one of those was, how are you feeling? If you're new to the show, in 2023, like I said, it was a challenging year because I was really trying to figure out and honing in on what's wrong with my GI system, why so many autoimmune disease, and I brought in on doctors and obviously wonderful people that are experts in the field to talk about all these things. But what was wrong? And I discovered I actually have breast implant illness. Still working on repairing my body. So if you're asking me how I feel, November 9th, I had explants in Austin, Texas by the fabulous, and I say this fabulous, Dr. Robert Woodfield, breast implant illness expert. It's a lot to say. That's his Instagram. And I met him November 9th. We had explant surgery. And, I have listened to a lot of women on social that felt immediately fabulous, just felt great, like a change. I did not. I'm being very honest with you. And I actually got a little discouraged about the week 2 when I talked to my sister that's a medical professional and a provider. And I talked to her about it, and I was just so discouraged. And I have to remember, I was 58 when I had them explanted, and everyone heals differently. I really am always very careful about setting a precedent that, in 2 weeks, or, this morning I recorded my workout, which I do every day. Strength training was today. And I recorded that, filmed it, and I was very careful to say, at 3+ months, I'm finally to the point of doing full range of motions on upper body. That was not immediate. And people are like, how quick? How quick? I followed my surgeon's recommendations for that and was very, very careful. My trainer helped me through this. He was familiar with implants, some women that had gone through that, but not explants. So he was learning along the way too, and I totally trust him, but I'm doing so well. Now, again, probably when this show comes out, it'll be about 4 months. Y'all, I just can't tell you the difference. I'm a different person. Now, when you see me on camera, if you're looking on YouTube now, I'm pretty sure that I looked the same the entire season because I know I got really thin because of my GI issues, but how I feel. I can go to dinner at night and not have to Uber home. I've told you about all of that. My gut is getting so much better. We will detox towards the end of the year this year, but which just takes time. And of course, I'm like, let's go. Let's get this detox going. And my doctor said, you know what? You have to be ready. Your body has to be ready. And I'm finally getting to the point with seeing significant changes in my gut. I recorded the season wrap up in December of 2023, and I shared a little bit about what they found in my biopsy that was sent to pathology. My doctor, and I really can't say this enough, he removed the capsules, and he knows how to do that. He's trained to do that. I have talked to some of you that did not remove the capsules. I would really do your research and advocate for yourself. Be an advocate for yourself. But if he would have not removed the capsules and if he wouldn't have biopsied, they would not have found cancer cells in my right breast. He saved my life. I've had 2 doctors in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Dr. Radiology and my oncologist, say, that man saved your life by taking those capsules out and biopsying. So since that show was released, my oncologist, I've seen him. I had my mammogram in July of 2023. Showed nothing, guys. Nothing, all right? December had the MRI. January, which now I'm reporting to you, the oncologist, I'm cancer-free. He got it with the biopsy, y'all. He did the BRCA test, which is the genetic testing, and I don't have the genetic markers at all. What caused it? I don't know. I'm just not sure about that. What I do know is I'm high risk. Again, not the genetic markers, although my dad's sister had breast cancer, and she had a total mastectomy. So that's on dad's side. And, I've talked about that, but it's typically your mother, but it is a factor in playing in my high risk. So I'm high risk. So what does that mean? So in June or July, depends on insurance, I'll have a mammogram. And then in December, I will have an MRI for the rest of my life. What else can I do? Continue to lead a healthy lifestyle, continue to work out, continue to take care, try to eliminate as much as I can toxins at the pace I'm going, which is slow because I became very overwhelmed with removing all the toxins from my life. And it's so difficult, but I had to just calm down and go, it just takes time. So that is what I'm doing. I'm just high risk. And again, Dr. Robert Whitfield, thank you so much. I saw him 2 weeks ago and I just gave him a big hug. I just love him so much. If you're going through this, I would definitely check him out for sure. We're linking all of the information in the show notes for sure. The community that we have built on my platform, I'm so proud. I've heard from literally hundreds up into the thousands of you that have reached out. I feel like I know you when you're going through your symptoms. I feel like, I have a friend that's a friend. I've never met her, but I know her on social that is going through on the 29th. I'm so proud of her. She's closer to my age. And, it's not just the young gals going through this. It's all of our ages. But I also want you to remember this. Implants didn't work out for me. For me, all right? Made me very, very sick. I am not. Everybody gets to make their own decision on what they want to do with their body, their health. And I always tell you this. You have one body. We have to take care of it. It is our duty to take care of this body that we have because we don't have a gimme, y'all. This is it. So with that said, the platform that we built and the community, I feel I'm just so happy to be an advocate for women going through this. I have talked to some of you that don't believe it. They do not believe it. And I understand because sometimes it's unbelievable what I've been through. And but what is believable is look at me thriving. My health is just so much better. Oh gosh, I can't even, it's so crazy even talk about that. But yeah. In the cancer scare, I knew there would be infection. I knew all that. I knew biofilm, all those words that I, just need to dive deeper in. But when I am talking to Krista Patricia with Dr. Whitfield's office, that's functional, she's a functional nurse practitioner, and she deals with gut and gut issues. And Krista is looking at my pathology report and says, are you seeing this? And I wasn't. And she said the C word, carcinoma. And y'all, I just went blank. Absolutely blank, numb. That's the only thing I can think of. And we didn't know what it was. We were just like reading the report. And let me tell you, I am not a medical professional. I do not pretend to be. But I'm just amazed because what it brought me to is when my mother was sick. My mother died of cancer and in 2007. And the numb feeling, the fear of how sick she was and how she tried so hard to overcome her cancer, but she didn't make it. And I had to text my dad and my sister before the show to remind me what year. And actually, I had to pause just now to say the actual year because it was such a shock. And I think I blocked that out of my mind, and that's not good. I hate asking my dad and my sister when mom died. But that's the feeling I had. It just brought me back to all that fear and the brutality that she went through. So anyway, I'm doing well, y'all. I'm so excited. And I want you to share this podcast with people that that may need information. And hey, again, this didn't work for me. It may be fine for everyone else, but it didn't work for me. I go back to the episode number 168, number 172, 174, number 75, where I talked about breast implant illness. I came out in the very beginning and was very honest and transparent. And I will cut it to you straight. I'll even tell you which tank tops that work for me and camisoles that work for me. I'm still not wearing a bra because I am just around 3 months. And so I'm doing, again, what my doctor says. Hey, those of you that say, hey, my doctor said to do this, follow your advice. You know what? Again, everyone's different, but this worked for me. The advocating of this for you women, all you listening, brings me so much joy I worry about so many of you, and I honestly say that I love you. I mean, my heart is so full. So let's go to some fun things. And some of it's like, we don't even know you. We just see you on Instagram or just see your stories. And, that's how we share. And that's how I share about products I love. And what I bring you is trust me, if I don't like it, I'm not bringing it to you. I'm not going to talk about it. So you had some questions. So I'm just going to go down it. Now let's share with you. You asked me, what is my workout? So here's what I do. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I strength train, and I just had my bone density test last week, and I'm good. I'm 59 years old, and I'm good. No osteoporosis, no degeneration of bones, which surprises me because my back is not fabulous. But you know what? My spine is better since I took my breast out, my implants out. Tuesday, Thursday, I do Pilates on reformer and chair, and a lot of body weight work, band work. Saturdays and Sundays are my flexible days to walk. I walk my dog to get my cardio in. I do not like cardio, but I get a lot of it in when I'm doing my strength training. So I sprinkle that in. Do I have a personal trainer? Yes, I do. And people say often, I can't afford it. You don't have to. I'm sharing exercises with you almost every day, Monday through Friday, to help you and to help those of you that, maybe a trainer isn't in the cards for you. I just know that, again, I have one body and I can do this, and I do this with a trainer because I have such a terrible spine. But, and plus I like him a lot. I've told y'all Watts Fitness, he's so fabulous. But that's my workout. I just keep my body moving and going because, and people like, ooh, I can't stand to work out. Y'all, I love it. I was sick last year and I didn't miss a day. Didn't do it. Well, after surgery I did, but Okay, you want to know what I'm eating? I eat very well. I do. I eat very, very well. With my gut cleanup and the gut protocol that I'm doing right now, it limits me. It just does. I'm not consuming gluten. I'm not doing it. And I love crackers. I do love gluten, but it's not working for me. And I'm going to do everything I can to clean up this gut. I would say my diet is 90% paleo. I eat a lot of protein. The problem with me and my diet is I don't eat enough food. Sometimes I feel like I'm just not hungry. So that is a huge problem. I go back to the bone scan that I have, and I've had probably 4 now. My doctor insists on it. And y'all, you should be getting your bone scans, definitely. When you get up in age like I am, I started in my 40s, so didn't do it every year, obviously. But the food is very important. I wasn't really on the organics bandwagon, but I am now. I really am. Cleaning your vegetables, cleaning your food, your fruit. But I am. Do I love to go down to my local Mexican food restaurant and indulge? I do, and I love it. Again, no gluten, and that's not hard. It's easy to do, but that's probably my favorite food. I love chips and salsa. The chips have a lot of carbs in it, but I eat it up. So that's my favorite food. You'll find me splurging on that. I am a chef. I'm not sure if y'all knew that. I am actually a trained chef. I went to TCU for my undergraduate, food science and nutrition, and then went out and got my culinary degree at Johnson & Wales shortly thereafter. So I am a chef. I have never been a chef in a restaurant. And some of you going, well, that's not a chef. That's bullshit. So that is not true. I have worked for Southern Living Magazine, many publications, and I have written 3 cookbooks now, 3 cookbooks, and proud to say, yeah, I actually am. So I'm sharing that information on my Instagram. I thought at one time, I'm like, are y'all even interested in anything on cooking? But we took it away, and some people didn't like that so much. So every Wednesday you get a recipe from me. It is from my cookbook, or it's something that I've made up. We link everything. We do make it easier for you. And hey, y'all, I do have to make money in this business because it's very, very expensive. So I link things. For example, my crock pot chicken that I share almost every week, I share the crock pot, the measuring cup, the measuring spoons. It's a service to you, but it's also here because we are monetizing to continue to stay in business. Because, I could say, well, you know what, I'll cook for you, but that doesn't pay these girls rent when they don't want that to be paid. So yes, we are monetizing, and I'm very clear and upfront about that. How did I get into cooking was the question. My family, my mother was an excellent cook. My great grandmother had a restaurant in the shipyards of Louisiana during World War II. And so we had that long line of cooking and culinary in our life. Again, my mother, oh my gosh, she just was amazing. Y'all, amazing. People that are listening to that know Faye Tacker, that knew her, she always had food for everyone, and it was amazing. But I swore I would not get into cooking. I just didn't want that as a career. I was like, no, I just don't want to do that. I want to do something else. I want to be an architect. I want to do TV. And the good news is I did get to do TV with my cooking because I got a scholarship that I had to, and it was to have a degree in food science or nutrition or cooking. And I facilitated that, and that helped me get through TCU and on to culinary school, which all culinary was paid for with my scholarship. So that's how I arrived on cooking. So it was forced, but am I glad I did it? You better believe it. You better believe it. I'm so proud. But again, just because you're not in a restaurant does not mean you're not a chef. I'm just going to wink at you there, right here, looking at y'all on YouTube. The food and beverage industry was not for me, but let me tell you, I have some friends that it is one of the hardest professions because they're on their feet all day, crazy hours, serving us, serving you. So that's how I got into cooking. I live in Fort Worth now. I went to TCU, moved to Dallas, married the father of my daughter, and we moved on to Austin. And we raised our daughter there. She went to TCU. During the time, in her high school years, I met my husband. We've talked about this. I met him on Selective Search, of all things. He paid for the dates. I didn't pay because I couldn't afford it. And we met. And that's how I met Greg Blackmon, the love of my life. And he was in Fort Worth with a thriving business, a family business. And so I eventually, when Kennedy graduated and went to TCU, I said, I'm going to go on up to Fort Worth. And y'all, I love it. I love it so much. I share it. It's so opposite from Dallas. We're so close, 30 minutes to Dallas. But I just love Fort Worth. It's a small town is what we call it. But and people want to call it Cowtown, but my goodness, we are more than Cowtown for sure. So that's how I'm here and making wonderful, wonderful friends all across the Metroplex for sure. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of water because I'm getting a little dry. I usually have guests here, but not today, not on these solos when I'm introducing this season. What do you wish you had known in your 20s? So I'm going to go ahead and take this a step further. What I wish I had known in my 20s, 30s, and 40s. But in my 20s, I knew this. So I'm going to share this with you because I've shared this because I did know. My grandmother was French, and she said, wear sunscreen. Well, let me tell you, they didn't have the sunscreen that we were used to, but she with long sleeves and hats and gloves. She was queen of that. Now, in college, I did baby iodine and oil and laid out on a silver mat, which I'm rectifying all that sun damage as much as I can. But wear SPF, y'all. It's so important. I mean, it's so important. Good grief. That is, again, you have one body. So that's what you should know in your 20s. And actually, when you're a child, your mom and dad should put that on you for sure. Listen to me. I feel like I'm shaming. Prioritize your skincare is what I would say. Those of you, including myself, that come home from a late night and think that it's cool to not wash your face. First of all, gross, but wash your face for sure. That's something I wish I would have known. What I really wish I'd have done, I think it was even more so, definitely 20s through 40s, spend more time with parents. My mom died in 2007, and I can't ask her the questions that I want to ask her. Menopause, mental illness, eating disorders. How did she make that roux for the gumbo? I know you wrote it down, and I had it in my brain. Always write things down. I would say that too. So more time with my parents for sure. And my dad is alive and thriving, and I still don't get enough time with him. And so that's kind of a priority for 2024. You know, when you're younger, and a lot of you, my demographics are 18 to 48. I believe that's the high numbers. I have all of you, but that is a high percentage of my following. Um, the little things that become big things. Ugh, I did it. I had a lot of mental stress and energy that I expended on little things that turned into just massive things that just at this age now that I can just brush it off. You know, if we forget to post something, and if it's brand deal, that's a problem, but I just brush it off. I mean, even 5 years ago when we started this, I just go, you know what, we'll fix it. It's okay. Don't worry about it. So yeah, don't burn bridges. That's another thing. I did burn a couple of bridges, and I'm so mad at myself for doing that. But I was young. I was literally in my 20s, and I thought I was all that, but I wasn't. Body image. Every January, I started some kind of new, challenge or diet or eating plan or cleanse or something. And I'm not saying that there's something wrong with it, because right now I'm going through a gut protocol, but body image is so important, and it still is to me, but it was an obsession. I mean, just an obsession. I saw the other day, I ran across something in storage that I weighed and measured myself daily, weekly, and wrote a log of it. Now, mind you, I've shared with you my eating disorder, that I'm doing well, but it's always there. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I mean, ugh, I don't even want to share that because I don't want my daughter to do that. But she's good. I mean, she's good. Thank goodness she didn't fall on her mom's track there. Also, interesting, my dad worked for the same company year after year after year. I worked for a few before I really started working for myself. But I'm seeing this with younger women and men. Y'all, the first job's not your forever job. Not always. It's just not. And I love sharing that because it's okay to go. I don't know about job hopping. And I don't know. Maybe that's a thing. I am not the authority on that. But your first job may not be your forever job. You may get your heart broken too. And always know if your heart is broken, there's a reason why it's broken. I'm telling you this. I remember relationships that dissipated most with male and female friends, and relationships and male-female. And I just thought my life was over. Oh my gosh. So crazy. There was a reason. There always is a reason, for sure. Okay, next question was, you seem, and I'm just embarrassed to even say this, but I'm going to read it. You seem to be aging backwards. What's your secret? I'm taking care of my body, eating right, moving, taking the right supplements, having regular checkups and blood work. I'm starting something this year I haven't done just because of this cancer scare. I'm going to start having, and I don't know the name, but I will share once I figure it out. I'm going to have the scans of my body just to check for types of cancer. I'm just going to do it. And people are like, well, why would you want to know? Are you freaking kidding me? Did you just hear my story in the beginning? So, sunscreen has been huge for me, and my grandmother taught me that, just as I said earlier. But just taking care of my body, I really do think eating right and moving is huge. Trying to remove these toxins from my life with products, and we have air filters in our house now. We're trying to get our water purification set, and it's overwhelming, but it can't always happen at once. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and thank you. But I want you to also remember, what you see on my Instagram feed is not how I look every day. If you look at me on YouTube right now, I look the same, but I'm not made up like this. My hair, my extensions are in. They're fabulous. They're on Amazon. You can buy these from me. But again, remember that, because I walk around with greasy hair and a ponytail a lot. Next question is, you and your daughter are so close. Has it always been that way? The answer is yes. I remember feeling her. I was watching a movie with her dad, and we were in a theater. And I felt like someone just taking feathers across my belly. And I was like, what is that? Never experienced this. It was her moving. It was her moving for the first time. And I fell in love with her immediately. I hadn't even had a picture of her yet. That was back in the day, or a scan. And yes, I fell in love with her. Stacy Danford, my friend, I always call her out on this, or she calls me out for sure. Neuroscientist, my friend, my dear, dear friend, said you can't be best friends with your children. I just am. She's like my best friend, and my husband even says that. One of the greatest joys in my life is being a mother. And I don't know about being a father because I'm not, but being a parent is the greatest joy. I love watching these children thrive. I love social media and seeing my friends that they went to elementary and high school with Kennedy, and seeing them thrive, watch them grow, watching them again, like me, making great strides forward, some of the mistakes. But it's so great. My daughter just bought a house, and I'm so proud of her. I mean, one of my pillars is interiors. I love interiors. One of the, I wish I'd have been an interior designer, and that was one of the questions. I just love it. But I have the opportunity to do that and decorate my home. But Kennedy's house, we walk in, and she's like, oh my gosh, they have it decorated so nice. What are we going to do? And I just salivate because I'm so excited to help her. But I watch her selecting tile and doing things on her own and just creating her own little nook. Just so great. It's just great. I have the opportunity of working with my child, and I talk to men and women that have the opportunity to do the same thing and to sit alongside and to learn from that generation, whatever generation it is. It's not my generation, but to learn technology and social and how quickly they can do it. But she looking through the lens of her eyes and seeing the experience. And she's not a fan of getting in front of the camera like her mom is. So we're all so individual, but so great seeing these kids. So yes, we are very, very close, and I'm blessed beyond words. Y'all, this season we have a lineup of guests that I'm so proud to have. I mean, with breast implant illness, I have just, it's kind of again, like I said, created this community. So having people on my show, I do solo podcasts. Y'all, I don't like doing these solo podcasts. I don't, because I'm like, who wants to hear me sit here and talk about myself? But you like them because you tell me to keep doing them. So I sprinkle a couple of those in throughout the season. Taylor Dukes Wellness, Taylor Dukes in Fort Worth. If you do not follow her, you're going to after that. She is amazing. She is a survivor of brain cancer. She shares her story with us. She is incredible nurse practitioner that's functional medicine, and she shares that. And we talk about gut health and healing. And she's just talking right at me because that's what I need. Real Housewife of Orange County star on the, I think it was the 6th season, Peggy Tennis. Oh, I just love talking to her. She was on the show. She's on the show this season. Heather with So Heather Blog. We're going to talk about divorce in your 40s. Oh, gosh. Alive and Well, Elise Clark. We're going to have Elaine back to back. Y'all, sorority recruitment was one of my viral TikToks. So we're going to talk about that because it's not gone, y'all. It's thriving for sure. We'll go and dive in on some mental health this season and what you've asked me for sure. How to live natural and how to live toxic free. We're going to talk about that and so much more. We have 17 shows that we're bringing your way, and I'm so happy to do this with you today. Number 176, season 7. We're 4 years old and so excited to share and bring you fun, wellness, and you name it. And I always say this after every single show, and it never gets tired. Everyone, thank you so much for listening, watching, and keep being fabulous.